name's Ali and I'm one of the dietitians from Cardiff and Vale University Health Board. This is now our 6th video in our series of videos around food and nutrition for pregnant women. This video we're going to look at food and drink labelling and actually how to read some of these food and drink labels. They can be quite confusing, there can be a lot of information on them, but we just want to look at a few key ideas of how to look at those labels quickly and easily and get the most out of the information that's on there. But how do we know when food and drinks are high or low in fat, sugar and salt? The best way to do this is by looking at the food labels like we've discussed before in the other videos. Now, it's not just those foods and drinks that might be in our high in fat, sugar section that's outside of the Eat Well guide. It would be in many of our foods and drinks that we have in our cupboards that we'd want to look at the food labels. Now, there's 3 ways of looking at food labels. Sometimes you might just do one of these, or you might want to do all 3. So the first one to think about is that traffic light system at the front of packaging. So these are really useful if we don't want to be picking out lots of different items on the shelves and we just want to have that glance. Now, what we want to see are more ambers and greens with our traffic light system, and that will show that it is a healthier product. If we're seeing more ambers and reds, then we'd want to be having a little closer look into the food labels. Now, this is great for comparing products. So here we can see with these 2 tins of beans that they both have, they're both low in fat, low in saturated fat, low in sugar and medium in salt. So they look quite similar, but one is far cheaper. And when I looked further into the packaging, they are very, very similar. So actually, if we're wanting to look at maybe spending less on certain items, we could go for the cheaper option here. So traffic light systems is one to look at first. Then we can have a little look at the nutritional information that's also on packaging. So that normally comes in a table. Now, when we're looking here, we want to look at per 100 grams or per 100 mils, not per serving. We do this because then we could decode the actual information. Now, with the British Heart Foundation website, they've got a fantastic decoder there which will categorise into red, amber and green, and we'll look at what's high, medium and low. Now, with that in mind, we can also then decide whether this product is high in fat or low in fat, but we can also compare. So I can compare these 2 sources here and decide which one I feel is the healthiest. Now, you can do this online, looking at different supermarkets and looking at the label information there, or you could just simply choose things from out of your cupboard. It doesn't mean that we need to spend lots more time in the supermarket handling items on the shelves. It just means that we can do it either online or at home. Now, with these 2, we can see that they're both actually got 3.5 grams of fat per 100 grams for this one. So that would be a medium in fat. And this one is also a medium in fat. It's higher, it's 8.3. But with the saturated fats, this one is 0.2 grams. That would be seen as low in saturated fat, whereas this one over here has got 5.8. That would actually be seen as high in saturated fat. So just by quickly looking at that, and also having that decoder information from the British Heart Foundation website, you can make a real difference and a real choice in what you're having. Now, the reason this one has got more saturated fat is because it's got double cream in it and coconut cream, so naturally it would have more saturated fat in there. So we can make the choice. And the next thing that you might want to look at is the ingredients list. Now, the ingredients list is products. So, for example, here I've got 2 cereals, and the main key thing to think about here is the order in which that the ingredients are in. The largest amount will go at the beginning, right through to the smallest amount. So maybe perhaps with these, I'd want to see where dried fruit comes in within that ingredients list in comparison to sugar, because then I'd know that the sugar that's in this cereal is hopefully coming more from the dried fruit than it is from added sugar put in. So that's what I'd look at, and I'd hopefully see that dried fruit, yes, comes before sugar, whereas with this product, actually sugar is the second on the list here after oat flakes. So I'm knowing that added sugar in here possibly is higher than the dried fruit content. Now remember, when reading food and drink labels, we have got those 3 important places to look. We have got the traffic lights at the front of food and drink packaging. Now these won't be on all packaging, but they should be on most. Now if you did need to look further because they're not on the front there, or you wanted a little bit more detail, then we go to that nutrition information table. Now that will have all the different nutrients here, and it will have it per 100 grams, per 100 ml, and possibly per serving as well. Now this is the place where you'll find if that product has got extra vitamins and minerals, so it's been fortified. That will often be in that nutrition information table, which is really handy to look at when you're pregnant. Or you might be looking at that ingredients list. That's often at the side or at the back, and it will look quite wordy on some of these packagings, as you can see there. So really do think about what you're looking at, what you want to know from these foods and drinks. You don't have to look at everything that's on there, but really hone in on what you want to look at. Now, you might be doing these, like I said, with the foods and drinks that are already in your cupboard, or already online, or at the supermarket, but we don't need to look at everything. We don't need to look at those staple foods and drinks such as milk and dried pasta, rice, fresh fruit and vegetables, maybe meats and fish and beans and pulses and eggs. We don't need to look at the labels on those. It's those foods and drinks where we have added extras in, so maybe added fats and salts and sugars. That's where we want to find the best of those ones. So if we're not making a fresh sauce to go with our curry, for example, then let's find the one that's maybe got the lowest fat, salt and sugar in, and use that instead. So have a little go with this. Have a look at the food packaging that's around, make some really good healthy choices, and have a look at that British Heart Foundation website. That's got that decoder in there that helps us out with all of these. And see you soon.